Hi, welcome back to Beautiful Souls. My apologies, this was supposed to come out hours ago. I woke up, I had already pre-recorded it, had it set to automatically upload. There was the file got corrupted upon uploading, so this is my third attempt at recording. My third attempt at recording this, the second time creating the video. Hopefully it goes well. So, as many of you saw the post that was on the thing, that is Naruto will develop the both abilities that I posted, but I decided on which one would manifest first based on which one won out by the time I got off work in the morning. And and it's still going on, but I'm just going to leave that community tab there. So Naruto will develop Foxfire Uzumaki chains. Now, this is something that I had been planning on doing, and I came up with several what ifs for my Halloween special. And I've gotten several suggestions about it, and also from my inspiration from my other series involving Deku, if he was have Kitsune. So where our story starts off, it actually starts off shortly after Hagoromo's death, so nearly 1,000 years prior. 1,000 years prior to the start of the Naruto series. Shortly after Hagoromo's death, Kurama, the Kyuubi no Kitsune, is wondering, or is just sitting there, and he doesn't really like humans because of how the hatred and jealousy and revenge in their heart. Until one day, he comes upon this little girl that is being attacked by a pack of wolves. Kurama interferes, and the reason why he interfered was because he didn't sense any malice from coming off of this girl. He even sensed that she was actually concerned not for her own life, but for what would happen to this wolf pack if her family found out that they were the cause of her death. And this intrigued Kurama. He thought about it for a few moments before he interfered. Right before one of the wolves swapped and would have killed the girl, he growls out and the wolves whimper off. He approaches this little girl that's no more than 5 years, or no, we'll say 10. She's 10. How old she is at this time doesn't really matter. And she asks, he begins to speak to the girl, and he's thinking that the girl would run away from him, but no, she's just staring at him, and he can feel that there's literally no malice, no ill intent behind her heart. She's, for all intents and purposes, pure at heart. And he asks the girl what happened to her, why is she out here? And she says, well, family wanted me to and she basically explains that her family was going to sell her off, but it was to help her small community, because villages don't exist at this time, and that because she can't control her chakra. Kurama kind of chuckles at this, and Then he has a thought. He's like, you can't control. So in this, all the tailed beasts have one ability that have a power that they can invoke into an individual that they find worthy. And he's like, well, in that case, he begins to like kind of and he basically hacks up a scroll that is made out of chakra. And he says, I feel no ill will of you, and if you want, keep this close. Make your decision if you want to have power or not. I feel that you would use what you gain for the betterment of your people. And so the girl unfurls it, and she's shocked. She's like, wait, this says that I won't be human anymore. You're going to give me that? Why? Most people would use this thing. And Chroma just kind of grins. Like grins thing. And then her eyes widen. Wait, you're one of the tailed beasts that came from that monster's 10 tails, aren't you? She's kind of backing away, but still holding onto the scroll. Kurama just kind of chuckles and says, yes, my father, he made us. He made 9 of us. Gave us all this special contract that we can sign with an individual. And so he explains that after she signs it, she has to sign it in her blood. And not just any kind of blood. It has to be arterial blood. But what they will gain is power beyond that of a normal human. They would technically cease to be humans, but could still, if they chose, mate with humans. And if they found someone else worthy that they could invoke the same blood contract, basically essentially turning them into whatever she becomes. So without question, she signs the contract, and she begins to like cough up like the blood because she basically slashed her wrist, put it on there, and wrote her name down. Yukino. And as soon as she was done, Kurama pulses chakra into the blood contract, and Yukina also pulses chakra into the contract as well. And as soon as the scroll is enveloped in like a white flame and disintegrates, and then Yukina she starts feeling woozy and she passes out. When she wakes up, she's like, soft. And she sees like there's red fur that she's onto, and Kurama's like laying there, and she's kind of laid up against his paw, and then she sees like a white fur kind of like flashing in front of her face, and she looks over and she sees like a tail. She's like, what is this? It seems you took on some of my attributes. By that contract, we are now connected. You're basically my little sister now. Let's get you back to your family. And so this is the start of the Kitsune clan. And each tailed beast will have their own clan members that are basically their blood. Like basically Yukina and Kurama are siblings, not by birth but by a blood contract. Essentially, they each share their power with the other. And with Kurama, he gained the ability to take a human form like Yukino, but Yukino gained the ability to take on a fox form. But their human forms are essentially what you see in this. I found this photo online. This is the best representation of what I could imagine, because I'm not really good at art and I'm having issues with Google Pay and everything, which I've been trying to get situated with, so I can commission artists and actually get them paid to do some art for the channel. And I couldn't find where this was originally posted, because there was multiple sources for it, and this was just like the clearest one that I could find. So if anyone knows who the original artist of this, please let me know. I do want to give them credit for this. And this is the last episode that I'll use this, because I'll use other stuff that I have that are free source. So when she strolls up to like her family, they see her and they are aghast, because behind her is walking this giant nine-tailed fox, and they basically go in, and things progress through the ages, and eventually Yukino has made contracts, has had other people sign blood contract. Kurama disappeared 100 years after she first met him, and this is due to other stuff. Tailed beast becoming feared, and the tailed beast going into hiding. And even the Kitsune clan went into hiding shortly after, because out of fear of like their power being associated with the Kyubi, the Nine Tails. So ages pass, hundreds of years pass. Yukina, after about 50 years, grew her second tail, and then at 100 years, she grew her third tail, and eventually she, in the era of when the Shodaime, Hashirama, collected all the beasts and all that stuff happened, is when she sprouted her ninth tail. And she feels like she's at the apex for power. And elders of their hidden village, and I mean, this is like, you have like the hidden village in Leaf, Konoha. No, these hidden villages are on a completely different realm. They're basically in their own pocket dimension. And it's sourced by the power of like the elder of the clan, Yukina. And she basically created this pocket dimension for her clansmen to take refuge in, basically shutting off from the outside world. One of the other elders come rushing in and said, "Lady Yukina, your son, he left the village." She gets scared, and by the time that they find him, he had fallen in love with a human, and Yukina tells, and the woman is pregnant. She basically says that this is basically Minato. And this is like 50 something years later, or however many X years it would have been since the Shodaime sealed the beast and her son escaping. Essentially, Minato is when he's born, she tells her son, "You can't stay in this world, and we can't leave him, and she and your mate can't come with us." But mother, my son, I can't just leave him here. You know what they would do to him. she grimaces with what she has to do, because this is something that her kind can do. They can permanently seal their kind's powers and essentially turn them back into human. She grimaces it, and she's like, do you want to stay with your family, but you're next in line to lead our people? And his mate, Minato's mother, whatever her name is, Namikaze, like, tells him, like, you need to go to your people. You can't live here. I can't ask you to give up that. You have responsibilities. Yukina, hearing this, says, well, then I will place a seal on the young boy's powers, and if it and he has until his birthday to either come back to us, to find his way back to us, his 17th birthday to come back to us, or his powers will be sealed permanently, but he can pass on his bloodline limit to his children, but they won't be Kitsune. They won't be they will have Kitsune clan blood, but they won't be of the clan. They won't have their fox forms or stuff like that. Most of the time. But that will come into play, like, later on. So she performs the sealing method and tells her son's mate, if you should head to Konoha. My brother, he's in that area somewhere. He'll probably be safe for you and the boy. If anything, he'll recognize the boy as part of the family. And even if he is sealed behind some accursed seal that these damn fucking humans do to our brethren, he'll do everything in his power to, like, protect the boy. So, that being said, the tale of Minato Namikaze begins. He goes to Konoha, he meets this redheaded woman, and for some reason he feels like a deep connection to Kushida, more so than in canon, because for some reason he can sense something about Kushida that just draws him even more. And when she gets kidnapped, he's not even actually following her hair. He notices that he hears, like, the rumors that the QB container has been kidnapped, and he finds the red hair, and this immediately makes his eyes go wide, and he begins to frantically look around, and he just feels it. He feels this draw to a location, and he's just running at full speed, blitzing through, and he ends up saving Kushina. They end up getting together, and by the time of the third Great Shinobi War, it had been explained to Minato of his father's origins and everything, and Minato being upset that his mother hid this from him, and this was basically on her deathbed. And she says your powers have been sealed, and the only way for it to be unsealed is if you return to your father's homeland. But I have no clue where that is. You would have to find it yourself. So events play off and everything, and he does find on one of his missions, like, the gateway, and he sees this black fox that is just sitting there, and it has 7 tails, and he's just like, what are you? And Fox just lifts its head and kind of smiles, and he's like, you're not coming home, are you? There's someone you care about, just like I did. Minato realizes who this individual is, and he just runs up to the fox without any fear, and just hugs it, and He's like, I'm sorry, I can't come home. There's someone I need to protect back in Konoha. And funny enough, she's the Nine Tails jailer. The man begins to laugh, like the fox begins to chuckle, and he's like, very well. But know that I'm sad that I can't spend time with you, and you'll live a normal human life. But here, let me do this for you. The man places a paw on Minato's chest and imprints like a basically a tattoo, and he basically gives Minato a special summoning contract that he can do once, but it would cost him his life. It'd basically use up all of his power, all of his chakra and everything to do a certain action. And only do this as like a last resort. So Minato leaves, and he is sad, but he just can't leave Kushina in this war that is like happening. So his 17th birthday comes around, and he's with Kushina, and his back begins to burn, and his burning sensation on his back, and a light glows surrounding his body. And unfortunately, Minato didn't know this, but his father had placed a life seal on Minato, basically making sure that a seal of protection. And his father literally will pass away in the next coming years. When Yukino found out about this, she's upset, but she understands. And laws and everything dictates that she has to let this go through. So when years pass, Minato becomes the fourth Hokage. Him and Kushina officially get together and become a couple. A couple of years pass, and the Night of the Nine Tails happens. But before that, we'll go over what has been happening with Kushina and Kurama. Kushina, like, through being around Kurama, Kurama basically talks to Kushina and says you should stay around with that boy. He's different. He will protect you, and he's probably the best suit for you, little Uzumaki. Over the years and everything, her and Kurama basically became friends, companions, and Kurama is like hiding it from her, but leading up to Naruto's birth, Kurama basically explains that boy, he seems familiar. His chakra, it's different. It's something that I vaguely remember. And if I'm correct, the child in your womb, Kushina, will become something ferocious. No, he's probably what someone told me that was coming. And so essentially Kurama, Kushina knows his name, but she still calls him Furball and all these jabs and everything. It's just the relationship that they have. So Naruto is born the night of the Kyuubi happens, and unlike in canon, after the first volley, when Minato arrives there, like, Kurama basically like snaps his head to Minato, and he roars out, and then everyone is shocked because they just hear the Nine Tails like start yelling out like Kushina's name, and if a lot of them can't be mistaken, but they hear they see like tears forming on him and like water dropping from the beast's thing, and Kurama's tails are flailing, and out of necessity, Minato teleports Kurama outside the village, and everything progresses basically as in canon. But before Minato does the seal, he knows that this is going to take an immense amount of chakra, and either way he's going to die. And he's like, well, I want to see mom again. So he activates the seal because Kurama is being unsettled, but then when Kushina arrives, she restrains him like in canon. And Kurama finally like calms down, but they're looking down at Naruto, and Kurama basically just nods to Kushina, knowing that both him and Minato are going to die. Kushina just looks at Minato when he's about to like rip half of Kurama out, and she basically grabs his hands and she says, Minato, I know you're not entirely like me, and with our two bloodlines combined, Naruto will be able to handle it. Just seal him completely inside of our son. And with that, because Minato developed had sprouted an ethereal tail, and his ears kind of went up into like fox ears when he undone the seal. And so he seals the entire nine tails into Naruto, and is able to impart not only the chakra ghost that he put in initially. And Kurama even tells him, he's like, I'm not going to interfere with your son, Minato. And if I'm not mistaken, soon she'll come. And if anything, he's family Minato. You've always been able to sense my presence, haven't you? Minato's eyes go wide, and he realizes it in that moment, and he seals all of their chakra spirit, both what's left in Kushina and him, into Naruto. Basically, you know how Gaara's sand works? It's his mother that's actually his mother that's protecting him. It's essentially what Minato does. He uses his own essence to do that with Kushina's essence into like Naruto, to really make sure that their son is protected. And Kurama promised that he'll protect the child at the cost of his own life, which really would happen. So, that being said, Kurama has been sealed into Naruto. When they find Minato, like the chakra has like dissipated and he's like ghost white. Kushina is like laying there clutching Naruto, and Sarutobi approaches her. She has like a few minutes, like a couple of minutes left, and she explains who the boy is and what his name, the name that they've given him, and that Jiraiya is Naruto's godfather and everything, and to protect her boy. And with that, she takes her last breath. Unlike in canon, like Naruto is still treated by the vast majority, the very vast majority of the village like shit still. Like that's like basically the normal villagers are going to like just treat him the same and probably even worse and everything. But many of the shinobi in the village that did treat Naruto horribly growing up actually don't treat him as bad. They're still upset, but the few that saw what happened with the tailed beast that was crying and calling out for like its old vessel's name, know that it's not a mind that it wasn't a mindless beast, and a few of them think that maybe it's like something had to happen. Maybe someone put a genjutsu on it and forced it to do that because they saw the emotion in Kurama. So, and over the years, the people that had a few instances do occur with Naruto. He one day when he's attacked, these yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. These three tails of chakra, like chain-like apparitions that are glowing, that are on flame with like white flames, basically rip through people that are sprouting from Naruto's back. Basically, at like the nape of his neck is where they come out of it. They basically come out of like where his tailbone would be, but like they appear to be coming out of the nape of his neck because they don't come through his clothing and everything. But they shred a few people as like Naruto's like being beaten, and Naruto is unconscious. He goes into unconsciousness, feeling like blood, feeling like this warm liquid like rush over his face and everything. Incidents like this happen as he grew up, so more villagers start staying away from him. They tell a lot of the kids stay away from him. More so stuff that happened with Gaara, but unlike Gaara in the Sanbi Shikaku, Kurama is just sitting back, and every single time that it's this situation has happened with Naruto, he's the one that's been igniting the chains with foxfire. Kurama is sitting in his cage, and it's pretty sizable. It's still in like a sewer, but that's just from the pain and anguish that Naruto had received. But inside the cage, it's actually pretty comfortable. Even in his full Biju mode, he has plenty of room to like walk around, and there's a mound at the back of like the cavern. It's more like the face of a mountain, and beyond it there's like a small like kind of valley inside of a cave. And there's like grass and everything. So Kurama is actually comfortable. He has plenty of room to move around. But over the years, like the once pristine and luscious area has slowly gotten smaller to where it's like inside like a cage from the outside, but if you walked in, you would see a smaller valley than what it used to be. But, and so years progress. One day, when Naruto saved Hinata, when one of the boys like happened to like throw a punch, it's caught by one of the chakra chains. This time, Kurama didn't ignite them because he may be pissed off that these kids are trying to attack his nephew, cousin, family, last bit of Kushida and Minato that he has on this planet. But they're not really intending to kill him. The times that he's ignited it, those chains basically like cut through those people like a hot knife through butter. So, yeah, some people get off with just minor cuts and bruises. The people that intended to kill Naruto, yeah, they died. So when he goes to help Hinata up, she has like a few cuts and bruises. The one of the chains moves close to like her arm, and it ignites in like this blue flame. And Hinata freaks out, but then she feels like this warmth come over all of her body, and her face begins to heal. And so over the years, Naruto, he has the chakra chains, like, you know how like Gaara has the magnet release where he can move the sand willingly, and he learns to control that. He learns how to control his chakra chains over the years. So his academy years, yeah, the teachers don't help him out except for Ruka. But his taijutsu is subpar. His shuriken and kunai jutsus and stuff like that are subpar. But where he lacks in like a lot of skill, he more than makes up in a very analytical mind. And this is the day of the graduation exam, and about 4 years before that, he's like 8 years old. He basically confronts Saratobi, and he's like, DJ, is Kushina Uzumaki my mother? The red hot habanero? Or, and me, like, Saratobi is like, Lord Thur's like, who told you, Naruto? No one. It's just, out of I snuck in. Oh God, I'm in trouble. I kind of snuck into Ambu, and when I was in there pulling my prank, I kind of saw a name, and I read the description that she could use chakra chains like this. Naruto pulls out, like, moves one of his chakra chains, and Saratobi's like, bridge of his nose, and he's like, oh, it couldn't be helped, could it? So he explains, yes, your mother was Kushina, but if you find out who your father is, I can't tell you who it is, but if you find out, don't go spreading it. As you already probably know, your mother had a lot of enemies, and more so your father. And so, day of the graduation exam comes, and Naruto still can't do a damn bunch to save his life. He ends up failing the things that happen like in canon. He ends up getting the Shadow Clone, but what's different here is when Mitsuki spills the beans about the tailed beast being sealed inside of him, like, Naruto, like, is kind of shell-shocked, but then Naruto hears a voice. You're not me, kid. This guy's trying to goat you so we can kill you. Now deal with him. I'll speak to you later. So, like in canon, Naruto just beats Mitsuki. I mean, even more so than in canon. And he's just pounding him. He even severs one of his arms, and because of how angry Naruto was when Mitsuki was about to kill Iruka, one of the few people in the village that actually treated him right and one that he actually cared about, because even though the mistreatment he had at the academy, Iruka had always every single time Naruto asked, helped him with his jutsu, with the jutsus and everything. And Mitsuki, before Naruto could have been told, like Iruka had been planning to like ask if Naruto could get a waiver because only the Hokage could have approved it, like he did with Lee, because Lee can't use any type of jutsus besides Taijutsu. He was going to get an approval. He was going to get an approval for Naruto since he has the chakra chains, and it's just a bunching that he can't do. He was going to see if he could get a waiver for Naruto. So all that happened. He basically cut off one of Mitsuki's arms, and because he's angry, the chains were actually glowing white, and it basically cauterized the wound, so Mitsuki doesn't bleed out and bleeding happens. In the office, Naruto begins to explain what had happened, and Mitsuki is a traitor. They know this because Iruka is backing this up. But then Naruto looks at the third Hokage, and he's like, Gigi, there's also something else I need to talk to you about. And I think it'd be best if it was just us. Naruto saying that with a foxy grin. And Sarutobi dismisses the Anbu and tells Iruka to wait outside. Naruto says, Gigi, I trust Iruka Sensei. He's the only adult that seems to have no ill will against me. I don't know why, but I can always feel when someone's not being. Ever since a few moments ago, I could sense people's intent, and I can tell Iruka Sensei is trustworthy, and I trust him. So Naruto explains what had happened, that the Kyuubi actually told him, which broke him out of his stupor, that he's not the Kyuubi, and Sarutobi explains what had happened, and Naruto's like, so Lord Fourth really is my father. I had my suspicions about it, and from everything that I know about him, he would never ask someone else to take on this burden, and it only makes sense, because that just means my parents were two S-class ninja, right? Iruka's just gobsmacked, and you could just hear Iruka going, hitting his head with his hand. It's like, stupid. How could I have not seen Kushina's? How could I have put the name together and the chakra chains and the hair and the looks? God, idiot, stupid. So that goes, and Iruka, they explain, and Sarutobi checks the seal and everything, and he's actually surprised because it seems like it's more reinforced now, like something had happened. For a later date. And then all of us. And then when Iruka's treating Naruto to some Ichiraku ramen, Sarutobi's sitting in his office, smoking his pipe and everything, and looking out at the Hokage monument, saying, Minato, your son, he's grown up very good. He's become a fine shinobi. You and Kushina would be proud. And he does have the privacy seal up because he's going over some documents. It's basically getting Naruto's inheritance. All of a sudden, the seal breaks and the Anbu come rushing in, and they have their swords drawn, pointed at this woman's neck that's standing there. Sarutobi is just standing there in shock, and all of a sudden 9 white tails begin to sprout out of the woman's back, and her ears begin to morph into that, and she basically slams the Ambu, like knocking them out, throwing them out of the office, and immediately the privacy seal goes back up. That being said, you beautiful souls, I hope you like this Halloween special. If you want another episode of this within a week, get it to 50 likes. Get this video to 50 likes, and you'll get another video of this series next week. That being said, let me know in the comment section what you think about this. I decided to go with this part 0 more. Not really have a lot of dialogue, but to be more of an epilogue, me actually telling the story. And this is going to be more of a story-based series. And I'm really loving this because ever since the last Halloween, last October, I've actually been planning the series out, a Halloween special involving monsters or something, and I figured this would be a better choice because there's just so much lore and stuff that we could alter, just tidbit here and there, to make a really fantastic series. That being said, again, like, comment, subscribe, and if you get 50 likes by next Saturday, you'll be getting another episode either next Sunday or either Monday. That being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.